That objection resulted in a court case being filed against Mr. R.D. Karve.
Okay, and what was the outcome of that case?
The case was lost. This is a case which Baba Sahib fought in the defense of Mr. R.D. Karve.
Can I ask you one question? So, is this the same person or the son of the famous Maharishi Karve?
Oh, yeah, he is the very son of Maharishi Karve, the really famous social worker from Maharashtra. And this was a case fought in 1934. And when R.D. Karve was actually publishing a Maharashtrian periodical called Samaj Swasthya. And in the process of that publication, there was a case filed against him, and Baba Sahib represented him for that. So R.D. Karve, again, like Baba Sahib, was educated in the Western world. He realized the importance of education, sex education, and sexual health, which was a taboo subject at that time. And in his attempt, being the son of a social reformer, he himself wanted to contribute in this area because this was near and dear to him. He came up with this periodical called Samaj Swasthya, in which he gave instructions he gave, and the Puritans, the traditionalists, were pretty shocked with this education coming out in the public domain. For that matter, this education even seeing the light of the public domain or otherwise. And that is where the whole thing got initiated.
So, was it in Marathi then, or was it published in other languages also?
It was primarily in Marathi, but it was also translated in Gujarati, though the readership was not that high. But yeah, it was in these two languages.
And the Puritans, as you mentioned, who had objection, because obviously it was a taboo topic. People didn't talk about as freely as we talk about it now, because obviously we are in a new era. So was it the Maharashtrian Puritans or from the Gujarat who raised objection about this?
Both, actually. It was more of a religious fundamentalist, you can say, traditionalist, who did not approve of this kind of a subject to be discussed in public, and that too in a pictorial way through a publication. And that is where the objection came from.
Oh, it was pictorial. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Even the front page of that was because it was sex education. I mean, it was in a very education oriented form, but then the Puritans didn't say it that way.
I see. I see. So,
R.D. Karve had been engaging himself in this kind of social reform activities at that time, though the society didn't look at it as a social reform at that time. They looked at it as something very bold and vulgar, which was not for common consumption. But R.D. Karve stuck to his task. This included things like birth control, sexual health, women's health, and so on and so forth. Because there was objection to it by the traditionalists, the fundamentalists, the Puritans, and majority of the public who were under the sway of traditionalists anyway, that objection resulted in a court case being filed against Mr. R.D. Karve. And guess who fought that court case at that time? Remember that we are still talking of early 1930s, so even the lawyers or the legal fraternity was again subject to those values in those era. They just did not like the openness, the boldness, the educational side of things, which were in the public domain as published by Karve. And Baba Sahib made a petition to the court saying that Mr. Karve has a right to express his thoughts, his views, if there is any misunderstanding or if there is any reference to something being pervert or something not for consumption, then let it come out through discussion, not through the suppression of discussion. So that was his argument.
yeah. And the book also, or the publication also talked about homosexuality, which was obviously was a frowned upon a taboo subject, obviously.
The book didn't talk of sexuality or promoted homosexuality or promoted, but in the course of defending individual freedom.
Mhm.
So this all trickled down to individual freedom.
Right.
Sexuality was the domain, but then the larger picture behind it was the exertion of individual freedom. Whether individual freedom is to be upheld or whether the societal pressure and the traditionalist notion of society should prevail. And obviously, Dr. Ambedkar was somebody who was a champion of individual freedom. In the course of taking this case as an attack on individual freedom, Baba Sahib actually at that time quoted Dr. Havelock Ellis from England, who is a very well-known reformer in this area about human sexuality. And he quoted his research work at that time saying that if nature bestows upon an individual certain inclinations, particularly if that inclination is towards homosexuality or such like, then society should not have any problem with that, and we should not hold that person at fault. This is nature having nature prevailing over. This is the natural instinct. So that's how Baba Sahib presented that research in the defense of individual freedom.
Okay. And what was the outcome of that case?
The case was lost.
Oh, really?
Yes, but we should not stop at just by giving the verdict. The case was lost because it had a history. The judge was one Mr. Mehta. And we are talking of 1934. This was not the first case on this issue that came to Mr. Mehta's or his honor, Judge Mehta's bench. This happened in 1931 in a similar case against same R.D. Karve. And that time Baba Sahib was not the one fighting that case. So this was 3 years before this case. And that case again was lost. The judge ruled against it. And the same judge has the same petitioner, or rather the same defendant, then it's a very unlikely case of the judge giving a different decision, because it may also imply that his earlier decision is also under scrutiny. So the experts at that time and even today very strongly feel that the case was lost not because of lack of merit in the argument or in the case or in any effort that Baba Sahib put, but because of the prejudice, because of the preconceived idea that the judge had, and also the preconceived idea that the judge had about Mr. Karve. So those are the things that played out in the verdict.
So did he have to stop the magazine, publishing the magazine after that?
Yes, there was a fine. I mean, whatever was, I don't know the fine details about what part was objectionable, but there was a fine of 200 rupees that was imposed. And yes, of course, that there must have been some restriction on that.
Yeah, I think I believe there's a video on YouTube from BBC discussing the same topic.
Yes, and that's a good point to bring over, because this subject is not handled by most of Baba Sahib's biographers or any other reference. There are references. It's not that it's completely devoid, but yes, BBC came up with a short video on this in which this information was also divulged.